A university's ultimate goal is not only trying to get them the best skills and teaching and learning approaches, but also ensuring that graduates are able to identify and get decent jobs they could have a good living with. The question in Africa is, we have always trained graduates. By the end of the day, we have a huge number of students out there who are looking for jobs. This staggering challenge has been a big issue in this continent for so many years. The question is, are we not seeing to look out for a new paradigm where entrepreneurship and startups supporting higher education becomes the way out to help create jobs or empower graduates to create their own jobs for a better future? So stay with us, don't go anywhere. This AAU Talks. My name is Ajiman Ochrodako, and I'll let you know who our speaker is today. After this short break, we'll be right back. You're welcome back on AAU Talks, the voice of higher education in Africa. And today we're on the ground where scholarship, leadership, and citizenship becomes the whole language of everybody who thrives here. And the founder, who is also a transformational leader in higher education, no doubt about that. Let's welcome Mr. Patrick Awuah. Sir, you're welcome to AAU Talks.
Thank you, Ajiman. It's good to be here.
You know, your trajectory in leadership and higher education is unbeaten. I mean, these are not just words to flatter you, but these are things we've seen and read about you. And today is an honor to sit with you, a visionary in higher education, and continues to be one. The question is, Ashesi has laid a model, a very enviable one, that everybody strives to adopt. One is that you are not only concerned about how you train your graduates, you are also working hard to connect dots to provide decent jobs for them. And right. I know your studies on tracing these graduates also speak volumes on how you've landed them safely in these areas of work.
Right.
Let's start with your view on what exactly are the fundamentals that causes you to care so much about not just the beginning of the value chain, but even the end point of the value chain.
So for me, everything that we do starts with a purpose, right? And our purpose, or let me say our vision, is a continent that is flourishing because it has leaders who are making decisions in the best interest of their society. So they're making decisions in the best interest of the organizations that they run, the communities that they live in, and leaders who are driving innovation. And that innovation empowers economic growth, it empowers cultural growth, it empowers social growth. So because we start with that purpose, everything that we've done is organized around it. Our purpose is not about us, actually. Our purpose is about a continent. It's about the future happiness of a continent. And that has led us to be very intentional about the values that we prescribe for our university, the work that we do here, and the way we execute that work. And I think it's all of that coming together that is resulting in great outcomes for our students.
You know, before we go into the main topic for today, I also want to ask you one more thing about, you chose three very important, I would say, values.
Right.
Scholarship, leadership, citizenship.
Right.
Why were these chosen to demystify the spirit of Ashesi right from the beginning?
So that's a good question. Let me just say that, first of all, I think that the leadership that will drive a nation forward is a leadership that is ambitious about what will happen in their society, but it's also leadership that will be humble. And these two things seem to conflict, but ambition is about where you're going to go, and humility is about a character or a mindset that enables you to learn what you need to do in order to get to where you want to be. And scholarship for us, the first value, scholarship, is really about everybody being an intellectual, everybody being a learner, and everybody being a teacher. And so we think of ourselves, everybody in our university is a student, myself included. And everybody here is somebody who's also teaching others. And to do this, you're always in this quest for new knowledge, for new ways of doing things, and that's really important. The second one, leadership, if I had to summarize it, it would be about helping leaders help society move from one position to another. They lead by sort of pointing out the way, they lead by going ahead, setting an example. But really, ultimately, leadership is about helping other people to be more successful, right? And citizenship is about thinking about the common good. Don't think only about yourself. Think about everybody else. And if you have everybody doing that, then you will actually achieve this purpose that I described at the beginning of our conversation. So that's why those three values anchor what we do. And, you know, we actually measure those values even when we're measuring performance, right? So we don't only measure what people achieved, we measure how they achieved it. In achieving their goals, did they exhibit, you know, the qualities of scholarship, of leadership, of citizenship?
Interesting. And to the core crust of the interview is, we believe that if
Right.
African universities are trying to change the life or the future of their graduates to not just be job seekers, then they
Right.
would have to perhaps start building their skills in the areas of entrepreneurship, or perhaps creating support systems where they could start nurturing or incubating startup champions or leaders in entrepreneurship right from the university, so they could be champions out there creating our own business and also employment.
Right.
What is your view of a typical entrepreneurship university, or university that is geared towards strengthening entrepreneurship abilities in their students?
Right. So if you ask, well, first let's ask, what is an entrepreneur? What does an entrepreneur do? An entrepreneur is somebody who can question the status quo. They can see what is and question it. Can it be better? Is it correct? They are people who can imagine something different than the status quo. They are people who can take the risk to actually execute what this new thing they've imagined. And they're people who have the resilience to execute that new vision that they have and go through difficulty, right? So now all four of these things require courage, right? You have to have courage in order to even question the status quo. You have to have courage to think you can come up with a new idea or to execute that new idea. And so for me, when I think about entrepreneurship education, I think that universities should be fostering courage, right? And how do you foster courage? You don't do it by telling people there's only one right answer. You don't do that with rote learning. You don't do that with an extremely hierarchical approach to how you manage. You do it by encouraging people to take intellectual risks. You do it by enabling people to have a safe place to make mistakes and learn from the mistakes, and have them understand that actually making mistakes is part of the learning process. And then you do it also by then challenging them to come solve problems. So you have to do all of these things in order to actually foster that entrepreneurial spirit that we all want to see.
I think I appreciate what you mentioned about providing these premises for students to express themselves, make mistakes if possible, express themselves based on what the concept is and how they understand them.
Right.
Because it is their opinions and how they justify things that enables them to become that creative, innovative person.
That's right. That is the foundation, right? And I'm glad you said creative, innovative person, because if you think about the people we call creatives, artists. If you were to ask me, what does an artist do? I would say an artist also imagines. An artist executes a new vision that they've imagined, and they persist, right? I would use that to describe an engineer. So this notion that we have to educate people in a way that they are creative and are risk takers is really fundamental to many different things.
From your point of view, where
Yeah.
do you think universities have got it wrong in trying to create an ecosystem where students can try beyond the theory that is
Right.
so requisite of give us the exact thing, and to that space whereby you can just imagine and tell us what you think about what the phenomena is? Where have we gotten it wrong?
Well, I think if you think about how education started in our part of the world, it started after we had made contact with a colonial power. And that colonial power, in formulating the educational system here, was really interested in educating people who would follow directions, right? So their concept of, we're setting up this school to educate people who will then be the people answering to us in a colonial administration. They weren't necessarily educating people who would be leaders or people who would be questioning the status quo. They didn't want the status quo questioned.
Okay.
And so we had this very didactic education that was started here. And after independence, we didn't change it. And many educational institutions, even today, haven't changed it, right? Which is sort of it's a tragedy, right? So that's the sort of the source of our difficulty. But now we know better. Now we know that we are in charge. The people who we educate are the people who are running government, that the people who are running the public sector, that the people who are running our industries, that the people who are running agriculture, the health system, you name it, right? And so we know that we should be doing things differently. And now I think the challenge is putting in the effort to make that change, right? And I think that one of the problems that we have, and I say it's a problem because I have spoken with some of my peers at other universities about what it takes to make change. And it's astonishing how many people will say to me, well, the system will not allow us to make the change that you're describing, Patrick. And I say to them, but you're in charge of the system now. You're at the top of that system. But they feel that as individuals, they cannot change that system. And what I think they're missing is the understanding that it takes effort, it takes stress, it takes difficulty to change anything anywhere in the world, including here, right? And we have to be comfortable, we have to get comfortable with this notion that we should go do difficult things, right? And so saying that, oh, it's difficult, and having the difficulty be the reason not to make the change, I think for me is really unfortunate, because this is what we all should be doing. We should be, first of all, ourselves, and then the students that we educate, we should be building the mindset that nothing happens without effort. Nothing happens without difficulty. Nothing happens with some level of stress. There's no society that has achieved greatness without stress. And it's okay. In fact, it's a requirement for development that we be willing to do those difficult things. So it's a decision we need to make.
I mean, if you're just keeping up with this discussion, it's Mr. Patrick Awuah, founder of Ashesi University, and we're talking about how we could strengthen entrepreneurship and set up support systems in universities. And he's making some very important points about it being a systemic issue. And we'll come back with a short break and talk more about the system issue and how can we launch and deploy a realistic entrepreneurship and startup support system in a university like Ashesi. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Africa is rising through knowledge, culture, innovation, and through our universities. This May 25th, African Union Day, we gather again. The Association of African Universities Television, AAU TV, invites you to the African Academic Heritage Fair, AAHF 2026, a space where scholarship meets policy, student voices shape continental dialogue, where Africa's brightest minds and boldest ideas come together to drive Agenda 2063, the Africa we want. And this year, we are spotlighting the theme that touches every home, every school, every clinic, every community, assuring sustainable water availability and safe sanitation systems to achieve the goals of Agenda 2063. Expect a high-level dialogue on water security, sanitation, climate resilience, and human capital. A youth forum, because climate action starts local and youth are leading the way. A research and innovation pitch showcase, where innovators present practical solutions for safe water and sanitation to mentors, funders, and investors. And cultural moment that celebrates Africa's heritage, our identity, our pride. Mark your calendars for Monday, May 25th, 2026 at 10 a.m. GMT. Join us in person at the AAU Secretariat, Accra, or virtually from anywhere in the world. Register now to celebrate African scholarship and own our future.
Welcome back on AAU Talks, the voice of higher education in Africa. And I'm still here with Mr. Patrick Awuah, and we're talking about entrepreneurship and startup support systems for higher education. And, you know, we had to veer off a little bit into graduate employability and the skill gaps and all that. But sir, back to the point again, is what shortfalls have you over time in your experience in higher education leadership seen as the Achilles feet for African graduates when they get to the job market, your gatherings?
So I think that the single underlying biggest problem is that higher education has not made enough effort to connect with the private sector, to understand what the private sector needs, and to co-design curricula, right? In our case, we did that. We went to industry, actually not just industry, including the public sector, even the military, to ask the questions about what are the gaps, what do they need to see from graduates of universities. And they talked about people who can deal with ambiguity, people who can tackle problems they haven't seen before. They talked about character, about ethics, about integrity, commitment, dependability, the ability to communicate effectively. They talked about quite a broad range of things. And we then took that information and used it to design our curriculum and used it to design sort of our pedagogy, the model of teaching and learning that happens here. And I think too many universities have not taken the time to do that kind of work. And so they are continuing to do things that they were doing 20 years ago, 50 years ago, and it's just not fit for purpose today.
I mean, I'm anxious to ask. I just want to ask, why do you think they're not doing it? I'm just curious.
Well,
why?
I'm not sure, but I think it may be because of what I said initially about do people believe that they can make a change? Do people believe that they can overcome difficulties? Because if you're sort of comfortable doing something, going and talking with somebody who says, well, you must be doing something else, and then doing the work to get there, it's going to require effort. And I think some people don't want to put in that effort or don't think that their colleagues will join them in putting in that effort. And so then they don't even try at all.
I mean, this is, it's a tragic matter because, and a wicked problem because students can't really tell university leaders to go do the writing. So,
Right.
so we could be well placed. But here
Right.
we are, where the nucleus of the institution is not doing what they have to do to set the
Right.
pace for students
Right.
to get to that place they want to go. But let's come back to the other way around, that we could empower ourselves or students
Right.
to be able to make their own or chart their own course.
Right.
Entrepreneurship.
Yes.
How well could entrepreneurship find its complete place in the institution's curricula? How well could it be fully deployed for that holistic benefit to be seen? The students have that courage, boldness, foresight to go out there, question study school, and then make a difference on themselves. What model can we put out for this?
Well, I can share with you a model that we have here at Ashesi,
Mm.
and there are different models that people can do. But for us, one of the things that we're doing with entrepreneurship, as I said, first of all, creating a space where people can take intellectual risks and fail safely and all of those things.
Yeah.
But second, we actually have a model here where in the first year,
Mhm.
when every student here goes through a course that we called Foundations of Design and Entrepreneurship.
Okay.
It's a full year course, and it teaches them first design thinking, right? So taking a problem and then designing solutions to the problem, and the process of designing, prototyping, testing, iteration, experimentation, all of those things. And then they get to actually design a business or a solution, and they execute that in the second half of the year, right? So that's like an introductory course that every student, regardless of their major, will do. Even the law students do it.
Okay.
Okay, just the same as engineering and econ and business students. Then they go through an academic program, and throughout the academic program, they have access to a center here we call the Center for Entrepreneurship.
Okay.
And that center organizes and funds a number of activities and labs, design labs, fireside chats with industry leaders and entrepreneurs, with funders. And then in their final year, they have an option to do an academic thesis, to do an engineering design project, or to come up with a business idea and go through an entrepreneurship and develop a business plan.
Okay.
Now, for those who do the design project or the entrepreneurship project, some of those can then apply and go into a venture incubator, a student venture incubator, and get their idea further developed. They get some funding to further develop the idea and test it in the market and make iterations. And then we also have an alumni venture incubator for those who've gone out and worked in industry, who've now come up with a business idea, they're starting a business, and they can get back into the incubator and again, get the funding and the supports, the resources to fully flesh out their idea. And so we have this end-to-end approach to entrepreneurship sort of running through the Ashesi educational experience, including after they've graduated. That's one of the ways that it's working for us.
Yeah.
I think there's always room for improvement, and we're constantly trying to figure out how to do better. We, for example, realized recently that we need to be doing a bit more work in trying to get these ventures to a level where they can get significant commercial funding to go from a startup to a business that's going to scale, that's going to scale to many customers, that's going to get to a much higher level of revenue generation. And that's a work in progress.
Great, great. Let me ask you this. Perhaps it will make you give a lot more.
Right.
Has it been a difficult time this far trying to put all these support systems together for Ashesi?
Yes, it is difficult. I mean, nothing, as I said, comes easy. But I think for us, we take a very long-term view. We know that we can't do everything in one day. Rome was not built in a day, they say. And we got comfortable with the idea that it's going to take us a significant amount of time to get to where we want to be, but we're going to take the steps today to get there. And every year we take another step. And every year is a new beginning. It's a continuation of a journey. And if you take that long-term view and you take the steps, then things are feasible. And a few years ago, I shared with our students and the community here, there's that adage that a journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step, right? And we all know that adage, but we don't know the full thing. And the full thing says, okay, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step. Do the difficult things while they're easy, and do the big things while they're small. And what it's saying is, like, when you're trying to do something big, start with the small thing. And then if you keep working on those small things, over time, you'll see that you've done something really big, right? And I reflect on conversations that I had, 24 years ago with colleagues at universities here. And we had said we were going to educate ethical leaders at Ashesi. And they said to me, it can't be done. And this is something that belongs in the church. And I said, it can be done. It will be difficult, but it can be done, and we're going to do it. And they didn't try, right? But if they had started 24 years ago, they would have it today. They would have an honor system like we have here, right? And so that's my view, is you have to sort of be willing to take a long-term view, say this is a really big thing I'm going to do, but I'm going to do the first small step. And I'm going to build from there, and over time, we would have done something great.
I mean, I agree with you on that one. Yes, we know about Ashesi's very robust ethical system with the students. I once heard that in an exam hall, nobody has to invigilate anybody.
That's correct.
Everybody believes in what they're doing, and that is one great virtue that you could lay in any institution.
Right.
Let's
and
talk.
I think all of these institutions could do that.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, if they had begun with you 25 years ago.
And if they do now, if they start now, they'll be surprised that in 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, just how much progress they'll make. But they need to start, and it's never too late to start.
Yeah. Let's look at how higher education will look like in the next decade. I mean, today we're seeing entrepreneurship becoming a very important stake, not because perhaps it used to be an important thing, but because employment became an issue. So the consciousness to entrepreneurship now rose, now it's in vogue. Many people are running, or many schools are running entrepreneurial programs, but there are degrees to the extent it's being run and how technical it is. The Ashesi model is very unique. It's in layers, right? From first year, you have got some other centers and incubators here, which are nurturing innovative ideas right from the beginning to the end. Let's talk about Ashesi's approach to changing the paradigm in the future with Antra leadership.
Right.
What are some of the steps laid?
I think the future is, it's very interesting. Okay. If you think about where we are today, so first of all, entrepreneurial thinking is going to become more important than ever before. Critical thinking is going to be more important than ever before. Critical thinking, design thinking, systems thinking, ethics, all of these things that we've talked about are more important than ever before, partly because of the advance of technology, of artificial intelligence. So artificial intelligence is going to completely change the paradigm for how the world organizes itself. In a way, it's sort of like, think about the world before the light bulb. And how humanity organized itself, right? Here in the tropics, we had light from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. 6 p.m. it gets dark, everything changes. You go home, you go to bed. The light bulb is invented, and the way human society organized itself through 24 hours fundamentally changed, right? AI is going to be like that. Okay? And we don't fully know all the ways it's going to change, but we do know that it's going to be significant. Think about when our university started in Ghana, University of Ghana, University of Science and Technology. They were educating people to work in a colonial administration. Rote learning was great.
Yeah.
If you remembered these things and you had that, spirit of following instructions,
You're good to go.
you were good to go. You got a job in the public sector, and it was great.
Sure.
There was a shift in paradigm. Rote learning no longer worked, and now you're putting out graduates who can't find jobs, right? Now there's another shift in paradigm happening, which is machine intelligence. And I think of AI as sort of the next operating system. And the way we're all going to use this operating system is we're going to be building agents that run on AI to do work for us. And we need to know how to work with the machine. We need to know how to ask questions of the machine, to give it instructions, to give it directions. And we need to guide it. So for us here at Ashesi, we've set up a committee to figure out AI. And I've recently started to wonder, maybe I should be on that committee and I should chair that committee. It's that important. Right? And we need to be really engaging with companies that are driving this and really trying to understand. And I think this is something that our university should all be doing. The next crop of entrepreneurs that we produce will have available to them this incredible tool. And they will be able to move fast if they know how to leverage that tool. If they don't know how to leverage that tool properly, or even if they move into a model of, we're going to offload thinking to the machine, so we no longer know how to think, and their colleagues in other parts of the world are doing that, we will be left behind. So I think that the next 10 years, let's say the next 2 to 5 years, we should be in a very serious mode about understanding AI and where it's leading, and understanding how we prepare students to leverage this, to drive innovation, to drive enterprise in Ghana, to drive agriculture. That's the task ahead. And it's a big one.
A very big one, very daunting one. And your words at this moment really, really matter, because Ghana just joined the League of Countries who are now having a strategy for AI.
Correct.
Whether we like it or not, it is out there.
Right.
And I think that the people at the center of this strategy are students, because they will perhaps turn things around. If we want to see an AI-driven country, it will be them. You are so enthused about this AI, and you even want to be on a committee to ensure that this is well placed, because you feel in your heart that there's something you can do about this. What message do you have to students out there on how they could be well placed and positioned for a future of endless possibilities through the power of AI?
I think my advice to students out there is, first of all, there's this incredible technology available. There are a lot of resources online to help you figure out how to use this resource effectively. Do it. Second thing I'll say to them is, be careful not to offload your intellect to a machine. If you, like in the learning process, right? So if you use AI as a student to help you understand difficult concepts, that is a great use of AI. If you use AI to do the work for you, so you don't have to understand, it just does it for you, that is not a good use of AI.
Okay.
If you learn the difficult concepts, if you understand the core, and then you can direct the tool to do advanced, complex tasks, that is fantastic.
Great.
So I think this is, let me use an analogy, right? So, you know, the advent of the calculator
Yes.
changed things for all of us.
Yes.
Right? So I would say that, and I'll admit it, my ability to do mental math has declined over the last few decades because I depend so much on the calculator. But I use that, you know, I use my processing power for something different.
Yeah.
So it's not hurt me.
Yeah.
And I still know basic arithmetic, all the things that the calculator does for me, I could do myself from first principles if I needed to.
Okay.
Right? Now, if you're teaching somebody in kindergarten arithmetic, you don't teach them with a calculator. You're better off with an abacus. You're better off teaching them the core concepts.
Yes.
The same with the multiplication tables and so on.
Yes.
It's the same with AI or programming and all of these things, writing. You need to understand the core yourself before you're letting the machine do it for you. And that's advice I would give to students.
It's been amazing sitting with Mr. Patrick Awuah. Sir, thank you very much.
It's a pleasure.
Your insights are very invaluable. And if you start to really listen to what we discussed, the last bit of it goes to you out there, that you need to understand the right and wrong ways to use this incredible phenomenon of innovation called AI, and how it will turn this around. Don't offload your intellect to AI. Rather, use it to your advantage, holding on to your principles and your insights. And it's been a great time on the Ashesi campus. Once again, let me mention that on these grounds, we breathe scholarship, leadership, and citizenship. So I'm so glad to be here.
It's a pleasure.
And also really appreciate your fundamentals on how you can drive entrepreneurship and other support systems for your students. I believe that we can find an African continent whereby we don't have to always stay within our old shells. But when you see something amazing going on somewhere, reach out, adopt, and turn things around in your space. On that note, I want to say a big thank you for showing up on AAU Talks, the voice of higher education in Africa. My name is Awuah, and we'll catch you another time. Thank you very much.